Namo, to the three jewels and the three roots, the places of protection, I go for refuge. In order to establish all beings in Buddhahood, I give rise to the mind and set on supreme awakening.
Ai cho cha te san yo ba ye, jar wa se je tan je la, ko ne tang we chan sa lo, me do be ma men che, xa ze ro mo la so be, ngen je ye je chen ne be. Pai bi zo je ye sa sa, pa ma me ne da de ba, me ge je dan sa ming ha, se ne nya ma wan je be, de ba tan je ja ba je, nian de ran ja chan jo se. So sui je wa la son de, de san ge wa je zang ba, su na la ne da ye ra, sen je nan je san ba, lo ye se da je da wa, che jiang zhen man te ba ye, chu jiang ko lo ko de so. Korwa che se ma tong ba, nyang me man da tu je ye, dong ar jang so chen wa ye, sem je na la ze so so, da ge so nan che za ba, tan je chan jo je je ne, ren bo ma tong ro wa ye.
Page 10. With sincere faith, I pay homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas abiding in the 10 directions and 3 times. I offer flowers, incense, lamps, fragrances, food, music, and the like, actually arranged and mentally created. Supreme gathering, please accept them. I confess all evil deeds, the 10 non-virtues, the 5 acts without interval that I have committed, overpowered by mental afflictions since beginningless time until now. I rejoice in the merit, all the virtue accumulated in the 3 times by the Shravakas, Pitaka Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, ordinary beings, and the like. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both, according to the aspirations and diverse mental capacities of sentient beings. Until samsara is emptied, do not pass into nirvana, but compassionately look upon sentient beings drowning in the ocean of suffering. May all the merit I have accumulated become the cause of awakening, and may I soon become a glorious guide of beings.
Tsoi yen na rang lan tenbe da dan sim jian kun je je la sim mi je lo ji bai chun.
The field of accumulation dissolves into me. Thus, the mind of the 4 immeasurables has arisen within the mind streams of myself and all sentient beings.
Sim jian de dan den je je dong a gong tan cha wa xiu de dan dong ma me zhai xian dan niu jian bo le ju jin.
May all sentient beings have happiness. May they be free from all suffering. May they never be separated from happiness. May they abide in great equanimity.
Nan xian kong de qu kong ran yin dong ma dong ko ran chen nan niu ren mo dong sa ren yin jie song jiu za dan ne ran re ye ka bo yong jiu le be de nian de ran ni jian re zhe Sharje Saya Taja Ben Chenzi, Xue Yan Chan Be Nyan Jie Long Ge Jie, Ge Me Be Me Nan Le Jie Zhong Yu, Dun Jie Nam Ka Be De Den Den De, Re Ye Mara Bo We Ze Ran Ba Re, so ju san je sam se nie bar se jin zen de de ne she lan de la ya wo ze re zhong ne sen zhi sim je le na dan jian pai cha jiang wo ze zhen de she ye ne jiu wa 若为将就三界八灭，马萨别马拉格隆波，下界迦尼娘下龙仙境，却个南僧所现这中修，推介见见罗拉他的谁。 三界公家当界千波塞，天夜夜三盘求见人在，下界三年永别别干净，高尔波人间渐渐现大有，所谓用的家先的检讨。 下界三年永别多见见，我不人间渐渐现大有，可得上身变动做结果，作为内孙着孙见把来，这干嘛的是所觉得。 且般的我今节现顿知，南唐科杰托丹就个的，一今年拉年的剧长久。
Page 13. Appearance and existence, all phenomenal of samsara and nirvana are empty by nature. Not realizing this, how afflicted are deluded beings in samsara. My own awareness appears as a white tree, the manifestation of unified emptiness, clarity, and compassion. The tree transforms into myself, appearing as Chenrinzik, seated upon a cushion of lotus and moon. I have one face and four arms. Two are joined at the heart, and the other two hold a lotus and garland. Peaceful with loving countenance, I am dressed in garments of a Sambhogakaya Buddha. Sitting in cross-legged posture, my lower body is enfolded in a lotus. In a space in front, upon a seat of lotus and moon, appears a red tree gleaming with light. The light radiates, pleasing the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and gathering their knowledge, love, and power. The light then dissolves back into the tree. Again, light rays radiate to the 6 realms, purifying the karmic visions, self-grasping, and habitual imprints of sentient beings. The light gathers back and the tree transforms into the supreme protector of beings, Buddha Amitabha. He is bright red like a mountain of rubies, with one face and 2 arms in equipoise mudra, holding a begging bowl. He is garbed in the 3 Dharma robes and sits in cross-legged posture. Ceaselessly looking upon beings with eyes of compassion, he appears as the great embodiment of all Buddhas. On his right is the noble Supreme Chenrinzik, with one face and 2 arms, holding a white lotus with the left hand. white and adorned with jewels, he stands upright. To the left of the Lord is the Bodhisattva Vajrapani, with one face and two arms, holding a Vajra in the left hand. Blue and adorned with jewels, he stands upright. They are surrounded by an assembly of Bodhisattvas. The three places of the principal Lord are marked with the three syllables. From the syllables, white, red, and blue, light radiates to the 10 directions, and in particular, the pure land of Sukhavati, invoking the heart pledge of Amitabha and his retinue, who then instantly appears at this place.
Hon ran re ka da de qian shen kan ne ran dan lun zhe nan tan ko dan jie de ne dan zi ye xie ye me chang zi jiang tui jie long ne zui jie ka me pa lo dan can ba na ro te Ho dang wan ke nen du ye ne jang da zo be ma da ve den den de tam ce jiang guan de dan ni me yo. Amen. Dewa Sabara Waran Beza Samaya Tsa Tsa Huan Pan Ho Samaya Bichali. Ram yang kang ong a hong ong a hong ong a hong sarva be pura pura sura su avar de be so ha on sarva be pura pura sura su avar de be so ha on sarva be pura pura sura su avar de be so ha on beza sabarana ka yan la je dan den ben che yon de Dien be ran yin ja re sha de bo ro gong yo wan pe san so je je dan se nyo me ye wan sha se ce chen ran yin ja re sha de bo ro gong si be dong wa che je ye La zhe me do na cong zhe bang de zhe be ran yin ya wei jian lang be ro guan to ri yong dian dong dian xiao lin jie jia zong zhen qiao de bian de zun zhe ran yin ya wei xiang lang be ro gong si ben chen le zhou hai xiao sa le xian nang we ren qian zhong men de san den ran yin jia wan nang lang de ro guan zhe lo mo mo se wai xiu ke gang la so me bin bin jie qia xie ra ran yin jia re ge lang de ro a gong jie qian ye bo bai qiu Roja Junan de Shaze Hadjaran Yin Jare Jalambo Rokon Tenzin Se Jan So Wai Sho Budon Zhou So Yin Jaron So Tuo Jaran Yin Jare Nian Lambo Rô quan chan jo sen dan den bar sho wang bo zhen zhen de de yong den a mo la ran yin ja wa na lan de rô gon sa me de mo bar sho zhe ye de da ye dan ja sen do ye chi ra yin ja wa na lam bo ro gong san ye yong den do bai sho.
Page 19. Shri, I offer this water endowed with 8 attributes, with the nature of generosity to the mouths of the victorious ones. May there be perfect fortune for all beings. I offer this foot cleansing water, clear, full, pristine, and exquisite, and with the nature of morality to the feet of the victorious ones. May all beings be relieved from the misery of existence. I offer various beautiful celestial flowers that have the nature of patience to the eyes of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the 7 attributes of the higher realms. I offer naturally sweet-smelling scents and blended incense that have the nature of diligence to the noses of the victorious ones. May all beings become free from the bonds of existence. I offer this precious, radiant, and lustrous lamp that has the nature of meditation to the hearts of the victorious ones. May all beings clear away the dense darkness of their deluded minds. I offer fragrant medicinal elixir, saffron, and the like, which have the nature of transcendent knowledge to the bodies of the victorious ones. May all beings realize the inner nature of phenomenal. I offer food endowed with essence of 100 tastes, with nature of method to the tongues of the victorious ones. May all beings be sustained by the food of samadhi. I offer harmonious musical sounds such as those of conch shell, drum, and bell, which have the nature of power to the ears of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the awakening mind. I offer the 5 desirables that appease the senses and have the nature of prayer to the victorious ones. May all beings be satisfied by untainted bliss. I offer the 8 auspicious substances, the 8 auspicious symbols, and the 7 royal attributes, which have the nature of wisdom to the victorious ones. May all beings attain the attributes of Buddhahood.
On sarva punzamanga samandra sabarana samaye ahom. Yang tuan sen je den ran jiang tan je je da de zong dan ma zong bon dan da le long jiang lu bai jian jian ba jian men de jian xian de bu wa ya 若空当今来觉三千的，南大贤的多米结外修。
All owned and unowned things of the entire infinite billionfold universe, my own body, enjoyments, and all possessions, I offer without holding anything back to the pure land of Sukhavati. May the self-grasping of beings be thereby fully pacified. May they be endowed with the awakening mind, and may their birth in the Pure Land be unobstructed.
多人那门着了，本着门个啊，忽然心三界东北东三侧，人东在面南心去半部，念在这南去念龙的下。各种论结做来结让。推荐中间没被全可可，看的观察让心去个有，可是没查到前不我。
Realizing that my own mind is the Buddha, I pay homage on the ultimate level. Abiding within ungraspable empty awareness, everything comprised within appearance and existence is offered. Deluded perceptions of dualistic grasping are confessed within the expanse of Dhammarata. I rejoice within the state of the spontaneous completion of the three kayas. The Dharma wheel of unceasing compassion will always turn. Abide within the natural Dhammakaya that pervades all samsara and nirvana. In infinite pervasiveness, where there is no reference point of the three spheres, dedication will always take place.
人的前贤的去将可罗可，三界那拉大的推荐在，他们家下见着同在吧，南大娘养在拉三子的，见人在当推荐多拉。 Jarse sansen da jong pa be co, de chen shen de yo be la co la, lu ma ye san gue be chang ca du.
Three, ever turning the wheel of Dharma in the pure land of Sukhavati, you unceasingly look upon sentient beings with compassion. Homage and praise to Amitabha, who abiding in equipoise follows his pledge to act for the purpose of beings. To Chandrinzik, Vajapani, the other Bodhisattvas, the noble assembly of Arhats, and the gathering of deities abiding in Sukhavati, I humbly pay homage and offer praise with body, speech, and mind.
让年节点往左头嘎着，大灯神他也昼夜色可，天也无人看成嘎本质，头看那顿顿街头看腾，各种推介头当可。 难得多个人他安成了，我怎么不安成下念头？让给下有钱了我这头，在他军门前等可爱也，我来我这卡多那从去。 çoğu sanje can sen niye barsen kansın sen jen konca zhesen yan nü jo nam da de chen shen du jo.
At the heart of myself, appearing as Chandranzik, on the moon disk is a Sri surrounded by the six-syllable mantra, circling clockwise. From it, light radiates, and a white mantra garland issues forth. emerges from my heart and dissolved into the heart of the deity visualized in front. Thus, Amitabha's compassionate heart pledge of body, speech, and mind is invoked. From the mantra garland around the Sri at the heart of Amitabha, a red mantra garland of light emerges from his mouth, enters my mouth, and I obtain blessings and attainments. In this way, the mantra circles continuously between myself and Amitabha. The multicolored light issuing from the circling mantra garland pleases the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, purifies the 3 types of obscurations of all sentient beings in the 3 realms, and the universe and beings transformed into the pure land of Sukhavati.
Om Dewa Sho, Om Dewa Sho. Om Dewa Sho, Om Dewa Sho. Translate. Ready?
Yes, Sashidele.
Tomar the Teni Samala, Tahidele Shijetang, Tene Tang Aranso, Pachur Lo, Ni Lazan Lugure, Jigil Pats Matawache, Tatsowachi Matoya there, Tenin Zambelin Arans, Takini Gocha, Chimbos and Ra, Tan Dordana, Jimtung Ketini, Tan Magivale, Saya Balatine, Tenita. Devatis means and Donang Ansuta and Jitin Ro Murray, Yongology, Gangi, Chimboji, John Teletin, also took Mataba, Telichon, your retain the Tenitalo, Tangansuchi, Jung Chani, Tadonche, Natsati mi, but the Chayo Mare, Tara Gangi Natsayu Yuka, Re Yena Yantaran Ansutiniam, Don Taba, Tachudo Mambo Moshiba, Mambo Pendo. Tenis Sapaya Yosari Teni, and Donat number Samate, Tutupatan, Jartavatilla, Shiragao Chonshi.
First of all, Dashidele to everyone. So it's been more than 2 years now that we have not been able
Translator?
to meet one another.
Yes, Ina
Where
is
is-
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Voice cannot hear that.
Well,
yes,
can you hear me?
just a minute, Rinpoche.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, not yet ready.
I'm ready. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Hi, Ina. Ina, we can hear
Hello,
you.
can you hear me?
Yes, Ina,
Can
we
you hear me?
you.
Oh, okay.
But could you please give us a minute? We are trying to figure out how to project your sound into the hall.
Okay, sure.
Recording in progress.
Ina, could you try to talk?
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me now? Rashidele, can you hear me? Should I start the translation now?
No, Ina, please hang on a minute. Thank you.
Okay.
对，好。你的桌子声音应该不需要你播到现场，你再讲几句。
Could you please try to talk?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
这边底下啊，这是那个
这个是开前那个信息有那个中的声音。
对对对，OK，对，这样讲话，你这样讲话，你这样讲话是，你这样讲话是，
Ina, you can try to talk.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, all good. Thank you.
Can I start the translation?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Dashitele to everyone. It's been now over 2 years that we have not been able to meet one another because these days we have encountered a whole lot of difficulties in this world, all of us collectively. And that is really the result of negative karma ripening. So that is why now everyone in the human world has become affected by this really great hardship. And as a result, we have not been able to meet one another. And so this year, even though actually we have not been able to eliminate the disease, difficulty, we still are able to meet again this year together. There are many of my Dharma friends here that I've known from before. There's also some new Dharma friends, but all of you, I'm so happy to meet you this year.
不像我录的300遍。
Oh, but now I don't hear anything. I cannot hear Rinpoche.
Can you hear?
Not really. There's a big echo. I think you have to switch back and forth.
Good way.
I cannot hear.
That is common.
Mic 给我。Please, 拿 MC 的 mic 来一下 please.
Good way. Good.
But a lot of echo, not very clear. In the beginning, it was great.
Now better?
你做不到哦。
No.
把我的 laptop 拿去了。
现在不是 laptop 的问题。
我知道，我把这个拿过去，so that Ina 听得到。
哦，OK。快搞定了，别快搞定了。
Okay, recitation Om Dewa 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 Om Dewa.
Ina, do you hear Rinpoche?
Yes. Not right now.
Rinpoche.
Oh yes.
Ina, you could hear Rinpoche?
Yes. Yes, this works.
Ina?
Yeah.
Om
Ina?
Dero, Om Dero,
Yes.
Om Dero, 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 Om Dero.
I think you can translate now, Ina.
Om Dero, Om Dero, Om
But
Dero,
now nothing to
Om
translate. First,
Dero, Om
Rinpoche has to
Dero,
teach
Om
something.
Dero, Om 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 Dero. Om Dero, 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 Om Dero. Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero. Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero, Om Dero.
因为你又同时开太多哈，
哦
开太多台一开两台三台
是
你在
now
这里
ready
上去的话是很多。如果在同一个地方不可以开那么多台，它声音会。
等你打动呀，一定看的进啊，然后刚一的，东啊没办法还是，东啊有可能刚一有可能的，那么是的人去，人都清楚，对你的单位去，你的杂清楚的字，然后这阿么的同志们的还讲个字给清楚的字，等你被拿啥个刚一，你看有那样得了当然是的，等你拍到把的还讲个被。人都清楚的上会有，当然我们做种红了送给人，没错，不是说样干的，其他都
那个外国人讲话是从
很多人每个朋友，
Sorry, there's some background noise here.
确认就把感觉有那样，对他他们这个当然是的，他多人吃那样啊，담배去个等了，等那个别做几年，两年几个月是呀，他等红了有的，对他不等你哪把做个生个等这。 하장 그 배님 덮치 보세요. 되니 펩도 받대. 하장 원 사고를 예세 가지고. 냠교세트 바강인 던지 지금 안에.
And so we are still encountering a lot of the difficulties in this world. We have not been able to eliminate the suffering. So in the midst of all the suffering, you were all able to still join this retreat, and really that shows that you have a lot of courage. And you consider the Dharma to be as very precious. You consider the 100 million Amitabha mantra recitation retreat as very important. So even though we're still in the midst of a lot of difficulties and disease in this world, you were still able to come here, and that really shows of your great courage. And actually it is said that whatever dangers we encounter, danger from weapons or water and fire and so on, the elements, even if it comes to our death, we should still make an effort in Dharma practice, and then make an effort in the Dharma, in Dharma activities. So again, it's really quite incredible, quite amazing that you will all be able to join this retreat amidst all these difficulties. I have a lot of background noise here. I cannot hear.
Ina, do you
드니 다 가나 좀 좀이야.
noise?
지난 쪽
Yes.
까블레지 안에 다 용야 쪽 가나 좋지. 담배 취지. 냠닝 지고 쌈. 답배 아침 벌 지네 드니 페비오레 페바나기 드니 다 하장게 꾸홍도. 꾸홍 넘버 타바. 때 하장게 기침 벌. 꾸홍 넘버 타바 센디 다 가나 좋지. 너다부 다 가나 좋 개월라 보치지사. 강인 던지는 닝답 치부 보내 드니 개월. 안들 라포치. 제산이 드니 대답드니 고놈도야 오 낸다 아마데어 동점 냠네 지네 드니 냠네 들었티네 드니 심지 탐제라드니 내갑도 체너드니 동아 탐제를 자기 드니 타토도 드니 심지 탐제드니 대화지시는 제외치도 드니 네 냠네 지고 산드니 티티니 고놈 드니 냠네 제나 드니 하장게 드니 고놈 넘버 타고 쳐요레스 Tene teyan che ga yin, zhou yin che ngarang de tabu tene sawa dripa gewa lakshin dripa de ngarang la o tangone ngarang de kokab yapo che tang ngarang dong yu pa che dendri chi dribya ngarang kawa dimpa de cha song sa tene ngarang la pe zhowa che tene teyan hajang ke kichin bo res te ngone dong chane ya ngarang so pe kawa dimpa res ngarang so chunjik den karayana dedok tamchi ko lenre tene xie yung yo re tene tere ngarang so chi don zom to bande che ngoni suna mangbo sa jiji mangbo le tene nga so nyamju se tapa tene nyamne se ya kawa yo ba nda chung yo re nda ya chi ngoni ngarang miksa de tene sanji yo pa me den jewa yu de ba tene tene kokab nda top tene kawa yang dimba tene yung de so mangbo ne samno ta ne ta o ngarang ne kawa dimba cha so di tene nge hota batasi는 거나 냠는 지고 사냐 되니베 던지지 때문에 되니 고농낭나 되니베 야고도스 되는 거라서 하장게 까와 점보래 저다 나가서 다 달론래이나 아무데 동득 탱쭈니 바 차대요래 로타 차는 좀 소고요래와 다 로타 차로 진 총도 쪼다 잡긴가 찌는 뭐진 더 되는 거라서 속보 원래요 tene ngaran so kachu sabje jache watene karazon botenre jongyore da panchu ina tene ta ina ya Rinpoche shari yo yore shari yo dana ngaran so us shanji song tu de botenre jongyore ta kone ke namju jumbar song yore ta us kone kulin der pemne ngaran so chobo de yo matapja tene konke tok de ngaran so nyam de tin kone ke yu so ne tene yangse shayin nang ge yore 유반하게 되는 만왕성원에 따른 Rinpoche 만왕수 생직도 유삼바 되니 뒤때는 되는 가게 돼 바다나 먹그 좀 마치 부분에 따른 Rinpoche 맞은 초월을 유도 유산에 되는 맞은 냠린 나와이나 딘디 Rinpoche 맞수 차라 요래 대 유부 짐시야 Rinpoche 코레게 유송요래 되니 대 따부터니 한 두바 나로 나스
So we have been able to meet together in the midst of a lot of difficulties, and you were all able to join this practice and to practice the Holy Dharma because you consider this a very important activity. And so when you come here for this practice, a pure, authentic, a genuine motivation is really most important. And so that is because the virtue that we accumulate here is really vast. And so you have come here with great courage to engage in a practice of vast virtue. You came here thinking that I'm going to practice the 100 million Amideva mantra recitation retreat in order to benefit all sentient beings, in order to liberate them from all temporary suffering, and in order to have them be born in the Pure Land of Dewachen ultimately. This is why I'm engaging in this practice. So if you have this motivation for doing this practice, and that is the genuine, the true, pure motivation, and then we should engage in this practice with a mind of joy and delight, thinking that what I'm doing, this activity is a vast virtue. It is an excellent opportunity. It is a meaningful activity. I'm extremely fortunate. I rejoice in this opportunity. It's important to really bring this to mind because we really are all very fortunate. So generally speaking, all of our experiences of happiness and suffering in this world and in the Dharma all depend on karma. And the fact that we are able to meet together here also shows that we have accumulated great merit, many causes and conditions in the past for this to happen. So we are really extremely fortunate. We all have a past connection to the Buddha Amitabha. So we should really recognize this great opportunity and our great fortune. and really think that this is a great merit, that I have this opportunity. Now I'm going to use this opportunity to practice, engage in this practice wholeheartedly. So we should engage in this practice with this sort of motivation. And so this year is actually our 12th year of practicing the Amitabha Recitation retreat. We have been engaging in this practice, holding this retreat every year. And in the past, His Eminence Gratro Rinpoche would join us every year, and he would give many Dharma teachings. We were very fortunate. But now still, Gratro Rinpoche is alive, and we are able to see him, and we are able to hear his teachings, his words directly. And Rinpoche always tells us that even though his physical form, his body might not be able to be present, physically present, and still he always tells us that he's always with us in his mind. And so this is how we should really think, and when we engage in this practice too, that Rinpoche is really actually here with us. And so this is how we then practice with continuous faith and a pure perception and devotion. So if you practice in this way, then surely Rinpoche is actually together with us, and he always tells us that too. And so please sustain such a mind state.
Okay. Tadangagi ma kachushia chami raga asegunze betini dechin shing bonam tini titini kanshi ma shoyong is tini sama tendo ete chunjong.
So for the teachings, I'm going to teach on Changme Raga Asya's aspiration prayer to be born in Dewachen to the best of my ability. So please have the text ready.
Ta tinze pa bodo tini chami raga ases ta kongsanji machapi tini gewishini chimo nyam tan topodani kepa ta tumpodani sanji machapa tini pemni tini dege tara opa gando tan tini pema ka gando la sopa tini sanji ga sonya gando tamji ga tsu gondo jigde dune tini tara dechi shinga bonam se tini da tsamyo tini da hakyang chi go dewo tan pinyo chimbo Dhondrup tang aso pune na ta sangma ke namju katong se nyamne se zungwe yores ni ta zo donda de kare tinge yores na donda de ngana zo tara Dewachen na jewe ju ye de zo de tungwe yore tene de mazu de sama shuba yana de ngana zo namju nyamne de dewa yon de tene yabo yosa da sa yores.
So the author of this prayer is Changme Raga Asya, and he was really an incredible spiritual master, a real embodiment, a being of great experience and realization and scholarship. So a really an incredibly accomplished master and scholar, and he gathered together the parts of the Amitabha Sutra, as well as the White Lotus Sutra, and compiling it into a small prayer called the Aspiration Prayer of Dewachen, which is concise and easy to understand and extremely beneficial. And it is a prayer that the Tibetan people in Tibet reciting really as kind of like a daily prayer. So it is extremely meaningful. And so the main points outlined in this prayer altogether are the 4 causes of rebirth in Dewachen. And so I'm going to share some words on that because it really directly relates to our practice.
Emma Ho, the man of Jusorana, Damage, Demon, Paran, Jose, Populous, and number tapu, she come Dewa Jeans, that's our thing that it was. Emma Ho, Sendita, Hajang one Sarah. Sawa Hajang Zambo, Tashiba, Sawa Lapchim, Drugaba, Draba, Yanathan, Emma Ho, Simon Savatama, we are one. The need that Emma Ho and the Telejampe, then Hajang Yam Sinchua, Jordan, you think in the Drumma, Hajang looked to a couple of Kuba, Kapoyo, then did it on Dandra Emma Hos, Emma Hosita, that the Mungola Emma Hos, Jago Jinsi Kari and Gudos, and Emma Hos wants us, more Karinsanis. Oh, Sanji, Dewachi, Shinkam, the Yondin, the Hajang Sanji Machaba. Then wants our. Then it did on you the Sanji Obama. Court the Jebatini, the Yode Batelatini, Hajang wants our. Then it's all done, Dodina, Sanji Obama, the Moon Kong de Tiderido, Kappa de Mibo, Duhina, Sanji and Jikti wants to Japo, he saw a Jinjin Kanas from Bukabla, Kap Tegini, Kong Roma, Gelong Chujin June, she passed in the Obama Tambocheva. Homa Tridos Tara Sanji Tara Sanji Timan Socket, one socket in it, Homa, Gelong Chujune, Jibakabla, Sivasa, Cup the Dini Congress, and should send Tokine, Sanji Tegan unit, Tokine, Tokarichi Paris, and oh, Tanjitin the Hajang Dongata, Sanji Machapa Euros, and Coad Sanji Machapa and the Tone. That they Tamji in it. Over Senji Tamji Sanji can sing 2,000. There was he can come, he can come down, he can come either to Bata. The need they can come with the Sanji, the Depa Kiva Sanji, she cut the get Tapachita, whom would do somebody that took take by the Donna. Pender Yagan and some Mullock Chimbo to pay. Sawa level, Jachimbo to Drugo Sambano. Roa, Te Tabatini Sanji Kita. Nation come to do the Dona, go large Palavian. They can come to the Dewachi, Hibachi. Drugodos and the Teniki, Sanjin, wants to Jabin the Netini Congo, took Sancho, sent to Tokine, Teni Kappa, the Mipalatini Congress, Sanji Japon Trumbum Denitini Congress, so Sancho Papu, Monatame, Teni Tartani, Sanji Pami Shinkan, Musin. Kong Sanji Bami, Jennifer, then Sanji, then he can't do. Then read you want a din, then he wants out down, then he hold the child.
So the prayer begins with Emma Ho. In the direction of the setting sun, beyond innumerable worlds, slightly elevated, is the land of the noble beings, the perfectly pure celestial realm of Sukhavati. It begins with the words Emma Ho. And Emma Ho means something incredible or astonishing, amazing. It is an extremely excellent activity, something extremely auspicious. A very vast activity can be accomplished. So often we just casually also say Emma Ho for this reason. But here in this context, it has an even greater meaning. It actually transcends this world. It implies something that cannot really be accomplished in this ordinary world. That is why the prayer begins with this exclamation of Emma Ho, or amazing, incredible. And so what is so incredible? It is the inconceivable great qualities of the Buddha Amitabha's Pure Land, of Dewachen. It is the Buddha Amitabha and his inconceivable retinue. These are truly incredible, astonishing, or wondrous. So it says many aeons in the past, the Buddha Amitabha was born as a disciple of the Buddha at that time, called Jigten Wangsuk. And the Buddha Amitabha was born as the monk Chogi Chungnem. And so during this incarnation, he gave rise to a mind of bodhicitta. So he generated the mind of awakening in the presence of this Buddha. And so what was his aspiration when he did that? So he saw all the suffering in this world in samsara. And he saw all the misery of all sentient beings. And so he developed an aspiration, thinking that there has to be a pure land where all of these sentient beings can be born if they only hear the name of the Buddha, if they only bring to mind that pure land, if they only give rise to a mind of faith or devotion. There must be a pure land where beings can simply be born through that. And so he made this aspiration in the presence of this Buddha. For example, it is just like a very powerful person thinking that, intending that I'm going to do this really amazing, great thing. So just like that, the Buddha Amitabha developed the aspiration, I'm going to create such a Pure Land. It has to be created. So that was the Pure Land of Dewachen. There was many aeons in the past, a commitment that he took in the presence of this Buddha, Jigten Wangsuk. And as a result of this prayer, then following, never giving up on this prayer, he then accumulated merit, and he made many offerings to hundreds and thousands of Buddhas for a long time, for many aeons, never giving up on this aspiration that he took. And at the end of his efforts, this Pure Land of Dewachen was actually created. And then as a result, he attained actual enlightenment. So all of this meaning is encompassed in just those words, Emaho.
Dewa Jishinkam te kawa yore senas. Dene nima nabji soro na. Chami jikti mambu parna. Dene nima se darang narasan jikti kam. Dene pa nabso la. Nabji soro nas. Dene chami jikti mambu parna. Narasan darang jikti kam do. Zabalenden jikti nji kam jik tala. Dene tele pa chami pa pande son. Dene parona dene. Dene kyungse dene tang papu yisa na son de tesi ya toa didene dene sanji Dewa Jishinkam de yores nampar tapa shinkam Dewa Jins nampar tapa se de chetang ko ta tang mada mangbo yorwas ta mada se de ngana tun jiktin je kam de mada pa shigor mada pa kam mada ban jiktin kam kare chen mada pa yores na ta Dewa yupa donga yupa Magewang yupa, taken revo and yudipa, then do madapacha there. Tapishin comes and do the tapishin come, Dewa Mato Dunga, Junimi, and certain things, the test not what tapishin comes.
So then this Pure Land of Dewachen, where is this Pure Land? So it says in the text, in the direction of the setting sun beyond innumerable worlds slightly elevated. So the direction of the setting sun is the western direction, and beyond innumerable worlds. So we take our world system that we live in as one, and then beyond countless of these world systems, and slightly elevated is the Pure Land of Dewachen. So it is called the perfectly pure realm of Sukhavati. So in terms of pure, so we speak about pure and impure. So we say that this world, our world, is impure. And why is it impure? It is because there is happiness, but there's also suffering. There is a lot of non-virtue, and there's also the results of non-virtue. Whereas in the Pure Land, there is only happiness. There is no suffering at all.
Sanje sewa tate jatongji jatongta jeje zake sanje shinkongji yungting gopa tamji jik dongpa shinkangkong ne chepa lana me sondoa da zo kare songol sena dewaji shinkam tene sanje sewa tatong sanje mangbo ge shinkam ta yungting tamji tsur jik den de patala de ta tene shinkangkong ne tene yungting chepa dan papa lana me ba is 다 체파던 파바 라나미 바센드 주단 신카 탐지 체파는 파바 샤다리스 다 대화지 신데 체파 가르치는 파고 요리세나스 산지 신캄 힘바이나 말한서지 따라 사당보 야마나 야 사초심데 사당보 야마 사야 답사 사제바고바 산통폴을 내면 되니도야 답부 신카는 로트바 된리 용거야래 teni ngarang chota bi jewo thamar pa le tambo pa ta ngarang chi geba lam jog de pa cham tendri teni tsi sing kham dom ro thu go yo mare ta yin ya dewa chi sing la ta chepa karim pha go yo re sena ta ngarang sanji yo pa me la teni de pa chi chi pa ta nga dewa chi sing ne pa ten ro go sam pa teni dom pa hyup chim bo chi yo na ngana tsuji wo tamaba yinjang teni depa top teni sanji apami molam bi top da rang ke depa top la teni dewa sing ji tu bu yores teni desna teni ko sing kham yin sing ka chepa pa se ya jimsi teni yong ko yusa res
and so then later on in the text, when it speaks about the qualities, which is in my version here on page 28 towards the end. So all of these qualities of the 81 Buddha realms of all the 100,000 million Buddhas are joined in Sukhavati. Thus it is unsurpassed, the most noble of celestial realms, the most noble, the most superior of Pure Lands. And so it is unsurpassed and it is superior. So all of the qualities of all the Pure Lands are complete within the Pure Land of Dewachen. And so even though, of course, we say that all of the Pure Lands are unsurpassed, but what is it then that makes the Pure Land of Dewachen to be superior in some ways, to be so exalted? It is because in other Pure Lands, one at least has to reach the first Bodhisattva Bhumi in order to be born there. But Dewachen is a Pure Land where even ordinary sentient beings, beginning practitioners, can be born if they only aspire to be born there. But they cannot take birth in any of the other Pure Lands. And so this is what makes the Pure Land of Dewachen such a superior and outstanding and Pure Land. So if we develop a single pointed faith in the Buddha Amitabha and a determination that I surely want to go to this Pure Land of Dewachen, then through the power of this aspiration and also through the power of the Buddha Amitabha's aspiration, one will actually be able to be born there. And so this is the quality that makes it really most noble or outstanding among the other Pure Lands.
namju tang aran chi dewaji shen se mangbu shiri yore dewaji shen une la chi ta donga yu mari samyan ro ma tina na deji kare yu ma chu cheta chi ngi ma zin wa tendu yong yor was de indi tara dewa tara demon dina na de dewaji shen kamla kupa khande yu pa to so te sungu do de te ma ne shubi yin sta pena ngana zum ji tin ji khamro ji yin pena nga so ding khamba de cha yana pe zangmando shi dang da ko kare chala kare na pe zangma ya mo do asi yina ya de tamje ko te sa da do dan zeng bo la so bata an so ji to sol chub de batan de was teni dewa ji sheng de hajang ning ji bo yo ba ya bo yo ba kan she le teni jo sa do le ma de ba teni jo Rinpoche re kona na chub de ba the Yungo Spena, Rinchi Sayu, Kunyon Lantarta, Yangi Jachi Sanki, Uzumba, Nina Negi Tina Pazipa. Sacha Tamji Be, Jurumbo Chilichaba. Tanipe Kunyon Boimba, Hachangachim Bamburda, Madeva, Tanganos, Masolo Dona Madeva, Yura, Langa, Kawayan and Roma, Madevan wrote this. That's why you did, but some you did, but the Mango, in a Dewachi, Teta Maimba, Ko Sachata, Langata, Kangbata, Tangupo Chala, Kanditi in a Sama, Samaimba, Te Tamji, Rinpoche, Rama Zuyaba. The Dre you did, but the song to a Sarki on Baris of Sarki was Zumbas, Tangaras, the Pinchos and the Abudos, the Law Latin, Uta Dimba Chago Bay, Uchim Shendo. Dewachi Sing Tower, Dewachi Sing a Teta Wu Tao, Wu Chim Chim Yupa, Rumbaras, Wu Hajang Be, Wu Tang was a Dindepa. Then the Dewachi Sing Kanka Kupal, then the Teta Yures. Pay Chayang so Pat Sacha Kakin do Kangban Yo, then the town the Betination, Method Ra, the church, Drama the door, Ben Zipo Ido, then it Dewachi Sing a pet Teta. Hajang and Zidota, Tandang Tele, did it Janjurli Chewa. Tele Sama Janjo the Dimba, didn't ring with your is. Rinchin led Paksam, Rinchin led Passam Junction, the Tandodina, could the Sheng Tamjia, Rinpoche Sheng Tamjia, Rinpoche Sheng, Rinpoche Sheng Juba. The near Loma Tan Yargatan Domba Loma Tsa. Per Rinpoche Rek Shadala Zuyamba. The need to do your races, then Chile the boss.
So normally, when we speak much about the Pure Land of Dewachen, and so what often comes to mind is that there is no suffering there. But actually, we don't really know about what happiness there actually is, the great bliss that one experiences there. And this is what this prayer of Sukhavati also shows us, the great happiness, the qualities that are experienced in Dewachen. So I'm going to go into that briefly. So for example, in a worldly sense, when we look around in this building, this room, for example, it is very nice, it is very clean. For example, all the windows, the glass, all the things that we have here, everything is very neat and very clean. However, all these neat and clean things are ultimately actually assembled from earth and rocks and various so-called impure substances. And whereas in Dewachen, all the beautiful things there are not created by these ordinary things such as rocks and earth and so forth, but everything is made of precious substances and jewels. So it says after that, in the same verse still, it says that the jewel ground is as smooth as the palm of the hand, spacious and radiant with beams of light. And so everything is made, and there's later then there is a wish fulfilling trees abound of different precious materials. So everything there is made of various jewels and precious materials. And the jewel ground is very smooth. It is not our environment that we live. When we go out into our environment and we travel on a road, we always encounter some kind of a bumpiness or some kind of roughness or some kind of pollution or dirt outside. So in the Pure Land of Dewachen, there's nothing like that. So all the places, the environment, the houses, the roads, and so on, all the things, everything is completely pure and made of jewels and precious substances. And as it says, it is spacious and radiant with beams of light. For example, like in this building, there's a lot of light and it is very brilliant. And so in Dewachen, it is hundreds of times more bright and radiant. So there's rays and beams of light like that. If you imagine a very beautiful place and that has a very nice scenery and beautiful buildings, nice trees and flowers and some water, everything is very beautiful. So it's just like that in Dewachen, just hundreds of thousands of times more radiance and more beauty and more purity. And everything, such as the trees, like wish-fulfilling trees, are made of precious substances and jewels. And within a tree, for example, the branches and the flowers, the blossoms and all of that are all made of jewels and precious materials.
Asang Sheng Dongbo Yagata so Yura to sit in atene Trupukasa, Tasaka Ringra, Madrazong Ziba Kenimba, Tatu Trupukasa, the day Anthony Mambo Yuba, dead, Tamjigatinic, Chujara, Yinga Dogo Yuba, Conjosum de Yuntintan, then a legend to Sote, Namjutini Jatam Jarayin, Chujaja Deba, then is Satam to use at is Puchuchon Yella Jedimang. Devi do Chujit Zenwana. Tandordina, that data within Dewaji Shinkanatini, Chujit Zenwa. Chotam de Chahajang Zamanga, so you like Jedin Churs, Petrosian bar. Tonatini, Tolamanuba. Tani Hajang be come down. That Chogi Choi, like Jedis Yunti, Mango Shigura, data within Chujit Zenwa. Zenwa Senatini, so are you depa? And you said it in a choking tala, met on ring ra, Mandatory Jeba to Sotani, Sanjil Machapan, Zido didn't Hajang, Zipa, Ninjo, you depa. Tarangan income and Zipa Katsig, Zipa the Indio Katsig, Dura in a dream at a delicate dapper, then Hajang and Zipa, you depa. And the user is Penamans and Samsung. Longba Kahil, Rodi Loba Kahipe, Kehi Mambu Yuba, Langa Zo Yuba, then in modern Talangan Road Madeva, then it Tomato Deba, then the Mango to us, Yang Lomba Hajang Zangma, Shubu to us, Penama Singapore and Hajang Zangma was Langa Kawasum, Zangma, the Shinatsu, Kadun Hojang Tungin, then it Dewa Jishing a tele dab Jaku, Zangma Yuba, then the user is. That Tamjik not on Don and the Sungo was Ben a source of the King Kangban and Hajang Pay Narang Masankaki Chaji Yabu and a Pen Kangban and Chaji Yabu Zu. The need the Jala Yabu Drake Roa. The ne Pe Chok Zungu Yu Deba. The nation Yabu up to so your was. Oh, then there was a Shinkak Dap Tele Yabu. Then the Nanson and you source of King Kangbata. The ne source of the Chaksa yor and Jikin Kang and so Chapachi yor Mango yor. Tachi Soso Zol Chapuyuna, Dewaji Shinka, Getane, Flatam Zol Dap Tenants Yore. Jikin Kang Drying Bottom Mason and Chaga yor. Oh, the net Dewaji Shinkam could dratam the tele dap for any Mingo Roa. And then the Dewaji Shin say Adela. Nala Kangona data within the Dewaji come you deba. Indeed, what it in the Dewaji shins. That's all, man. So then Rodu Ba, Rodu Lotia. She did any tea, within the Nima, dinner chatting the Yuridas, the Nima song in Yuris, Benamanans of Tara, and something Cham Chamlan Road, but the name, so this Banjo this or Malo Yimaka, Lumban Delanga. Ben Yoko Cham Rogi in that state, so Tapchis, Kawan Rogos, all Longban the Kedando, Roa, or such and then a Chipondo, or Tenan Rukan, the Rukana chatting the was Shegedua. Pay data with me, what's what Dewaji Shinkan didn't have Yuridas, or Zuni Batana Yuri, Dashim Batana Yuri, the next sort of Gandu Batani, Tampitana Yuridas. Cousin Roa, you know, then the Jipin Kang as a Chapachi Akayo Madas, Dewaji Dap Tele, Indian Jitan and Rogaridas, on that they think you is.
And so there wish fulfilling trees abound. of different precious materials with leaves of brocade and fruits of jewel ornaments. And then there's flocks of emanation birds perched on them, on these trees. They sing the teachings of the deep and extensive Dharma. So there's a beautiful birds of various kinds that proclaim the sound of the Dharma on karma, cause and effect, and so forth. And then in this place, the rivers flow with perfumed water, having the 8 qualities. And the nectar water of the bathing ponds have the same qualities. So we say that pure water is endowed with 8 qualities. So it is completely pure, clean, and well tasting. And when you drink it, it extinguishes, quenches your thirst. It is brilliant and radiant. So it possesses many great qualities, and there's many pools of such pristine water. And then around these various pools, you find many beautiful flowers and everything desirable that you can just imagine. Now, if you imagine anything beautiful, a beautiful scenery, a surrounding in this world, it is many more times more beautiful in the Pure Land of Dewachen. So here in this world, for example, there sometimes we come to places where countries where there's a lot of trash everywhere on the roads, and it's very dirty. And when you drive in the car, it's not a really comfortable ride. It's very bumpy, and also often there's a really terrible smell. And then there's other places, other countries that are very clean, like Singapore, for example. It is extremely clean, and then the trees and the scenery is very lush and green, and everything is very, very pure. But then the Pure Land of Dewachen is many more times more pure. So this is how it is explained in the sutras. So if you just imagine somebody's, maybe a home, a family's home that has all the perfect conditions, everything is very beautiful there. There is ponds of water, and there is trees and birds and so on. And the Pure Land of Dewachen is many times better and purer than this. So if we just bring anything to mind in this world that we might become attached to, like our surroundings, or if we are attached to our bodies, then consider that in the Pure Land of Dewachen, the gods there, their bodies are many more times more pleasing than our bodies. Or if you're attached to beautiful sounds in this world, then in the Pure Land of Dewachen, the sounds are many more times more pleasing than in this world. So whatever your heart desires is present in the Pure Land of Dewachen. And so this prayer mainly presents the qualities of the Pure Land. So we know what we find there. So then we develop a real wish to actually go there. So for example, sometimes when we have accumulated a little bit of money, we're thinking about going on a vacation. So we're thinking next year, where will I go on a vacation? So then we look around for the best options, which place is best, which country is best, what is the most famous place to go, what is the most beautiful place to go, or which place has the best hotels with all the amenities, and so on. So it is just like that a bit in Dewachen. It is just much nicer in Dewachen in every regard, whether it is in terms of your surroundings or your form or the sounds that you hear and so on. Everything your heart desires is present in the Pure Land of Dewachen. So then when you consider all this, you will find that there is nothing to be really attached to in this life. Everything is way better in the Pure Land of Dewachen. So that is why I must go to the Pure Land of Dewachen.
다른 나라도 소소 빼나 강바야 뭐 간리지 요데바이나 콘조로랑 이래와스 저는 이마치 고 야마나 나랑 마타파차네 니마치 카탄도 그리 야마나 나랑 코요르네 다 만다바테네 양 조라테 고 딱바케 요 말와스 얘는 대화지 신게 따라 공두시베 대화지 코리오 수분 코리오 넘버 데이터부터라 되니 강한 조라차야 요 뭐네시 강 아주 강바데 얘는 강바 참자 짱마조 대시 지고도 대화지 신가 간드나 짱마레스 될 강한 게노야 또 돈로야 강한 봐 되니 아주 대화지 신데는 깨잖아 또 마게 가드는 딜 런주데 요요가 될 되니 두 나면 조라미 봐 근데 연구요레스 다 디나네 깨차데 되니 디난 난내 땅 가르쳐가 요레스나 되니 모콤제다 내송 드라마다 녀모동아 독선 내단동 다다운 탑조라 소바서 동아 탐지 쟁데 투만 용송도와 다 지난 대화지 신카나는 계송아이나 다른 거는 또 따라 빼나 뭐여기 되는 쟤는 말에 차진치랑 간디야고 요나양스 제 만화선 참선책 되면데 찌마지 참선지 주보건 나사 내당라마라 당연히 소송데 엔딩이야와 만화선 뭐여기 되는 차이잖아요 딱바 띵바 강연도 라이징 줄거도 전로도 왔어 빼나 그 산지지 송하나 직딩데 코안 동하지랑 인송하나 빼나 만화선 다 로 숨금호네나 담마상 찾기 카키 야보 요데바 근데 이나 기보여와스 근데 내가 여와미사 내가 강이 만동서도 기본 통과여와스 빼나 말아서 코빈 나찰 때네 뭐 지난 주노 찾기 요나리 미나리 상마로 빼 강이 주비도 여러도 왔어 띵보 강야도 왔어 근데 양 참장 안 하지 사와 정보 드르고사나 양 안서 콤모 카운타 그래서 연구도 있지 따라 대화지 신의 던지기 다좀 요 말스 가드에나지 고 대화지 동아 자야 자좀 요 말스 대체 뭐 콤바트서 강야미 봐 그러와 나는 뭐 콤바 가래리 나는 좀 차당 지신당 오르서 나는 지소소를 빼 나는 갑소 너던다 지도 상야 머가소 nd다 빵로 상야 되니 거 차당글로 망보 진가소리 제 대때는 되는 가소티 딱 꼬투신도 대 강이 망보 진의 정도 여러 왔어 되니 대 가소치 가드는 막컴 된대요 그러와 삼상 안에서 지 드레 사와 장보지 드고사나야 양 동당 임바지 때문에 나 드마터 버지 나들이 다 빼잖아 나 아무데만 참등에 내가 침을 나 냠니 지고사 빼가나 휴비 잡듯이 되는 냠주스야게 휴비지 도나게되는 무슨 든로는 드라마터 양 강이 지진 드라마를 채 쇼마라와 대답 연구도 왔어 지금 알아 든두로데나 나 되네 대 탐지 가와네 우리는 담보 알아 주되나 말 이 차당글로 요데바 야는 알아서 단지되는 되기도 델레티네 되네 긴 파체세야 돼 망보지요 되네 긴 파체 왕도 로도 그러와 나지 냠주시고사나 진짜로 되는 거 냠주시 말아버리 단참나 대 가래래 디 주드는 델라 디 잡드는 가래요 나한테 지 차당은 레와치요 단진은 레와치요 단진에서 나게 동다 안 동다 되네 때는 좀 말아버리 단지 중고 요레스 대화진 대답이요 말이지 동화 강야 문도스 녀몽 동화 독서미 정도 다 다른 거는 지 콤모 데메데 참고 녀몽 독서인데 대화 차지다 디왕된 로네 데가 냠유시 말아버리 차야 거 대화지 신감을 지난 계송이나 계송나 대화지 신나 두차 셰당 또몽 차도 대답더니 로라바 먹게 로라바 강야 문도스 가드는 셈시와 셈대와 tadi yung kuyo sares tani ngana jiktin ka da dan ta tan dor den jiktin den le ta se ga ma ga ta ke je he so tang sa ba drup so den chi ga ma ga cha da ma bo do ji ma chi chi 오 때께자 뜻 해서 되는 거는 semba 마치 멍부 차용도 차단 로지야 대화기는 대답하는 도스 자라서 나를 누세신 치라는 말하려니 치라는 바치다니 로 치라는 마가부니 가야모도 참마 치란 게 치라는 고야게 튠진주니 마도 같이주니 끼껴면도스 자다 동안들이 탑주라서 봤다 찌찌를 마가와 된 게자 말합시야 로 나는 좀 징 가는 얘는 다 찌찌를 때서 말할라야 로 마가와 따뜻 지가 소리 차단 걸로 요네 때 연구요 대답을 대화 지신 문도스 동ар 탐지 현대 투만요스 당 알아서 대화 지신 카메라 동아요 말이스 알아서 징 카메라 다 찾지 야보 요네 양 참선 요네 동아나 렙도와스 참사 지랑 벨로 충충이나 기보 요네 양 참사 로 마치로 겐고차 양은 나산다면래 로 단 너들은 강을 링다면 도와서 대화지시는 텐데 강야면도스 동아 자야면도스 지랑은 동아 고호유나야 동아 요 말이스 빼내 차야바이나 당아 부딜레명을 와서 나 부농바데 강을 와서 강유를 남지 자모유를 강을 와서 당아 강을 진짜 동아 싱가포르 대도나 나 강을 진짜 들어와 당아 싱가포르 나 강을 진 로도 강을 저지는 진 로도 나를 강기 고도서 나 뉴는 송대바이나 싱가포르 니야 요 말이 강을 요 말이야 미트딩이 니야 요 말이 나를 고요나야 라야 요 말이스 빼대다 대화지 신의 지성와이나 치랑 동하 고요나 동하 얘기요 말이 나 직딩지 칸에 직딩 칸 동하지라는 일이 나 드니지 요르와 대화지 나를 다 동하지 고도 산치라는 대화지는 동하지 짜와이나 동하 얘기요 말이스 동하 미트드 가르치는 얘기요 말이 주님이 니발 때는 많이 말이스 대화지 신하나 대치 무슨 소바 양성도 대치 코나 무슨 소바 동하 그 자자요 말이에요. 대답을 때는 대화지 신하고 있는 때들이 있어요.
So, for example, you might have a nice house or whatever, however nice it may be, but that also is changeable by nature. One day, impermanence happens, and you will separate from it, or your environment changes. It doesn't always stay the same, and things are different again. But in Dewachen, as we just mentioned before, this environment never changes. It's always like that. It's always beautiful. For example, even though we have a beautiful house, we do have to clean it sometimes so it stays beautiful. In Dewachen, it's always clean. There's nothing that you need to do. It's always clean naturally. So not even the sound of anything unpleasant exists in Dewachen. This place is unchangingly beautiful. It never kind of expires, or times never change there. So once we are born in the Pure Land of Dewachen, the happiness experience there is always lasting and never changing. Then it says here in the text, continuing from the same verse, there the 8 unfavorable conditions and the misery of the lower realms is unheard of. So once you're born in the Pure Land of Dewachen, there is not the slightest unfavorable condition or misery of the lower realms. For example, in the human realm, even though we might have all conditions for a good life together, but sometimes still it happens that we are not feeling so well. We are unhappy, or we are getting sick. And then no need to speak about the lower realms. Of course, there's only misery. But even here in our human existence, even the happiness we experience here is not lasting. It always changes. So the Buddha, for this reason, had said that this world, samsara, is suffering by nature. So when we think about this our life in this world, and everything pleasant that we need comes together. So we are feeling really happy and well. But then we know that this is impermanent. It doesn't last. It is just temporary. We might temporarily may think that everything is going fine, we're happy, and then something happens. For example, then there's COVID, for example. And no matter how rich or happy we have been before, it has affected everyone. Everyone really ran into a lot of hardships because of that. So things have changed because things are not permanent here. They're not lasting here. Or sometimes we want to engage in a positive virtuous activity, but we just have no time to do that. So it says the 8 unfavorable conditions, also meaning that the unfree states. So we are not free to often engage in virtuous activities. In Dewachen, not even the sound of that is heard. There's only favorable conditions. There's only happiness. So, for example, when we are unfree, when we encounter these unfavorable circumstances, why are we unfree? It is mainly because we follow our thoughts of attachment and anger. So we might think that I want to do something virtuous. I want to abandon non-virtue. And while we try to do that, we encounter a lot of difficulties again. And then again, we have no freedom to do those virtuous things that we actually want to do. So sometimes we do think that I want to, for example, go to this Amitabha recitation retreat and I want to engage in practice. And then we make all the preparations. We are really interested in joining the retreat. We're getting all ready to go. And then when it's time to go, then suddenly something happens and we can't go. Something holds us back. We have some kind of obstacle, and then we end up not joining the retreat. And so all of these negative conditions that arise, even though we want to practice virtue, are related to our minds of attachment, aversion, ignorance, self-grasping. That is why we always run into all kinds of obstacles and negative conditions, such as not being able to join or do something virtuous, even if we want to. So self-grasping mainly means that it is because of our selfish mind, because we consider ourselves as most important. That's why we always run into all kinds of difficulties. But then in Dewachen, all of these difficulties do not exist. So it says the 3 or 5 emotional poisons, diseases, demons, enemies, paupers, fight, quarrel, and so on, all such suffering is unheard of. So right now in this world, basically we are constantly connected somehow in the grip of these 3 or 5 afflictive emotions, the poisons. You're always overpowered by them. Once we are born in Dewachen, there is no more attachment, no anger, no ignorance, no jealousy. Not even the sound of these afflictions exists. The mind is always in a state of happiness and peace. And so, for example, in a worldly sense, even if things go well, sometimes we always run into a condition in our lives. For example, something happens that makes us unhappy, or somebody is rude to us, or insults us, or says something that makes us develop an afflicted mind. We get angry or we get attached and so on. So for example, when somebody says something to us, often we immediately give rise to an afflictive emotion. We feel unhappy, we feel affected by what we have heard. So all of that does not exist in the Pure Land of Dewachen. There's no one there who offends you, who insults you. There's no one there who makes obstacles, who obstructs you. There's no one there who makes you unhappy or upsets you. There's only favorable conditions. There is no conflict in the Pure Land of Dewachen. This is not like in this world, right? We always experience a lot of conflict and difficulty. And all of these difficulties constantly trigger thoughts of attachment and anger in our minds. And so these states of mind and these obstructions do not exist in Dewachen. Not even the sound of suffering is heard. In this world, now sometimes we're happy and then it always changes. And then, for example, you're young and happy, and then you get older and you age, or you get sick, and you run into all kinds of difficulties again. In Dewachen, none of that exists, not even the sound of suffering. Actually, even if you wanted to suffer, you can't find any suffering in Dewachen. For example, I'm from Tibet, so maybe I feel sometimes I want to see a snow mountain. I need some cold, because that's how it is in Tibet. But I live in Singapore, so I won't find any snow mountains here. I won't find any cold here. So even if I think that I really need a snow mountain, I cannot find it here because it doesn't exist here. And so similarly, once you're born in Dewachen, even if you say, I want to have some suffering, you can't find it. It doesn't exist there. Whereas in this world, everything really has the nature of suffering. But once you're in Dewachen, even if you want suffering, you can't get it, you can't find it because it doesn't exist. So that's the meaning of saying it is a place of perfect happiness.